G'day everyone and welcome to my 5th devlog for my Troopy game. This week I started on the background art and animations. Using the original concept art as a base, I went ahead and added in 3 main layers for the game. These layers make up what I'm calling the static background because they don't move. They include the sand layer, the water layer and the sky layer. Next was to bring the background alive by adding in the moving background. If you've been following this devlog from the start, you would know that the movement for the Troopy is an illusion. The Troopy isn't driving forward, but instead the obstacles are moving left towards the Troopy. This is exactly how I went about implementing the distant features in the background. Like the Kangaroos, they start on the right hand side of the screen and move left towards the Troopy. My plan is to have features on each layer, so the sand layer works as the foreground, the water layer as the midground, and lastly, yep you guessed it, the sky as the background. In Unity, we can set and use different sorting layers to render objects and images in the correct order. So I went ahead and added in these sorting layers. The layers are sorted in a list and rendered top to bottom. For example, the top layer is the sky and will be rendered first, meaning every other layer will be rendered on top of it. The last layer is the player and obstacle layer. This ensures that the Troopy and Kangaroos always appear on top. Alright, so let's get stuck into the moving background. Getting this to work was fairly simple. I used most of the code from the obstacle spawner, made some adjustments to create the background spawner. This background spawner takes in the prefabs that we want to display in the background and spawns them at random intervals. So far, for the background spawner, I have created 4 prefabs. Again, drawing inspiration from my original concept art, I made 3 different looking islands and 1 cloud. When we hit play, the background spawner spawns one of these prefabs. Once spawned, the prefab slowly moves left until it exits the right hand side of the screen, where it's eventually removed not long after. This process repeats at random intervals until the player loses the game. After continuous playtesting sessions, I concluded that the obstacle spawn patterns were becoming far too predictable and boring. To solve this, I went into the obstacle script and set the speed of the Kangaroo to a random value between 300 and 400. Now every time a Kangaroo spawns, it will be assigned a random speed between these values. This worked great. Not only did it diversify gameplay, but it made the Kangaroos feel more natural. You won't find any Kangaroos jumping at the exact same speed in the wild, and now you won't find it in the game either. Next, I added a temporary Troopy animation. It's very subtle, but gives the Troopy some sense of weight by bouncing slightly as it drives along. On my Instagram development account, I posted the work I made on the background and asked people what else they would like to see. The response was amazing, so first of all, thanks to everyone who left feedback. There were a lot of great ideas and I plan to implement as many as I can in the future. For this week, however, I worked on implementing 2 pieces of feedback. First was adding in a dolphin that jumps out of the water. Coding in this feature was again fairly straightforward. I copied and pasted the code from the background spawner to create the midground spawner because the dolphin will appear on the midground layer. For the dolphin animation, I went back to the same artist that made the kangaroo animation. The artist link for the dolphin and kangaroo will be in the description. Just like the kangaroo, I plan to make my own dolphin animation in the future, but this one is good for now just to make sure everything's working properly. Here is what the final dolphin looks like in the game. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out, but I want to find a way to make it spawn in a random location instead of the same spot every time. But that sounds like a job for next week. Lastly, in response to the second piece of feedback, I started working on a very rough wave animation. Once again, this is very rough and only works as an idea of what the waves will look like in the future. Just a general disclaimer about the future for this game. I plan for the background and the Troopy to look far better when I release the game compared to what it looks like today. Most, if not all of the artwork today is just placeholder. My long-term goal is to hopefully include multiple maps and Troopy customization. This will require a lot of artistic skill and time, so I'm thinking of eventually reaching out to some artists and asking if they would like to collaborate on the game with me. But this is in the future, so don't expect to see that anytime soon. In the next week of development, I hope to add more prefabs to the midground layer and possibly start on the foreground layer. That's all for this devlog. Thanks for watching, make sure to follow and subscribe for updates, and I'll catch you in the next one.